But just remember, if anybody out there attacks you for your beliefs, they have character flaws. There's something going on internally there that they need to work on. Discount them, put them to the side. I wouldn't even engage anybody like that. If you're on your own journey, it's best to keep an open mind. You'll get there eventually. But if somebody is slinging personal attacks at you or anything like that, it's best to just discard that type of person. What's going on, guys? Boi Crypto here with you again. And today we are going to talk about what makes a crypto maxi and why I think that approach is incorrect. If you're new here and you like strategic crypto content, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel as well, hit the notification bell, and you can follow me on Twitter. I am at Boi Crypto. So there's been a lot of talk recently, especially in the throes of a bear market when there's not as much going on, although, you could argue in a crypto bear market, there's a whole hell of a lot going on more than in legacy finance. People turn to simplicity. People turn into safety. People turn to what has actually paid me over time. And what I've observed from that is if there's something that they've had success with in the past, whether it's a specific token that they're invested in, or, a common trope that we do see is the market's down, altcoins are down, DeFi's down, all this stuff. I'm just going to turn to Bitcoin. I see why everybody's a Bitcoin maxi. I'm just going to be a Bitcoin maxi too, because this is really, all there was meant to be. That's typical capitulation in a bear market. People dumping the bags that they were totally fine holding at the top of the bull market, and then all of a sudden when things are bad, they become a Bitcoin or maybe even slightly an ETH maxi. Now, I'll first off say, if you're not too familiar with me anyway, not that it matters that much, but I'm not necessarily a maxi of any specific token. I've never really believed in that. We'll get into the reasons why and the different types of maxi that I think exist here in a moment. But I do think, other than the capitulation of the bear market, one other reason that people are maxis, again, is if there's a token that they've held on to that's already paid them handsomely or they've experienced, great things with. I think of some folks like in the Ripple community, definitely Hex, obviously, which I'm highly interested in. People have benefited from it in the past. And not only that, but a very strong message resonates with them. So they are willing to go down with the ship and only choose that token, that small ecosystem, whatever it is. And I'm certainly not being critical of that. I'm just illustrating this is why I think people get to wanting to be all in on one token or one investment vehicle, because it's worked for them in the past. Or they have like a very specific personal story with it that's kind of built them up. You look at the Ripple community. I mean, it's been years that they've been in court, dealing with the SEC and stuff like that. Although Ripple, I think, stands to win their case and everything, and that would definitely be good for them. And I think crypto as a whole, the price appreciation seems rather limited to me, but people are still very dug in on XRP. When it comes to something like Hex, obviously, there's no more enigmatic figure in crypto, obviously, than Richard Hart. Not only that, nobody has created an investment vehicle in crypto or any other space like Richard Hart. Nobody has preached the DeFi principles as much as he has. Mostly in the year 2022, it was the year that bear market, it's been the downfall of these centralized entities. Now it's becoming popular in the wider crypto space to criticize those, when maybe in 2021, everybody's just on Celsius, whatever other stupid lending platform that you don't even control your own keys for. Meanwhile, Richard Hart was talking about that, 6 years ago. So I think the people that you would dub quote unquote Hex maxis have that allegiance to him because he does provide that kind of product. And again, in my opinion, it's probably the best DeFi product there is. One thing I think that maxis of a certain token do need to keep in mind, however, and we see them with Bitcoin too. We see Bitcoin maxis that believe that there should be no other space, don't believe in DeFi and all that stuff, don't think that these other, you see people that are like the big time suits that are obsessed with Bitcoin that will crap all over something like Hex, it's a scam, blah, 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 all the crap you're sick of hearing about. But it's that scarcity mentality of the Bitcoiners of there should be nothing else. We already know that Bitcoin's value is diminishing. As the bull markets go on, you can see that the returns, I should say, are getting more diminished each cycle. And, as we sit here in 2023 with Bitcoin heading into its fourth cycle next time around, you are going to see slightly more muted tops compared to what you saw in past bull markets. But I think people that are maxis of a certain token, whether they admit it themselves or are called that or whatever, plenty of people use that word, and I don't even think it is necessarily critical. It's just what you dub yourself. It's fine that they do that. It's totally fine if your mental makeup brings you to that point. All I'm doing is kind of illustrating the different communities and how they may have gotten there and stuff like that. If your mental makeup and how your outlook of the world and your outlook of investing leads you to that, again, whether it be Bitcoin, Hex, Ripple, Cardano, Chainlink, whatever it may be, that's your individual experience. Whatever it is through your upbringing, your life, your values, whatever, that has led you to there. And that is totally fine for those people. I don't begrudge them in any way. That's how you arrived there. That isn't to say that it's good for everybody. So if there is somebody who is interested in something like Hex or is invested in Hex that isn't that community wants to decide, well, do we actually dub them a hexagon? No, they're not a hexagon. That person may not care. That person may really like Hex, think it's one of the best DeFi protocols and want it as part of their portfolio, but not necessarily decide to have their whole bag culminating of the Hex ecosystem, however good it may be. And again, that's back to that person's individual values. If that led you to that direction to where it's like, I'm already aggressive enough to be really heavyweight into crypto, but I'd like to spread it out a little bit. That's their prerogative. Again, their life experience, their values have led them to that decision. And that's kind of the camp I would put myself into. I am a Me-MAXI. I am a profit maxi. Now, you could argue that, there are certain, actually, you would argue and you're right, there are certain coins that are going to appreciate in value in the next bull run more than others, certainly. We don't necessarily know exactly what they're going to be, which is why I like to be involved in a few different ones. Not a lot. I've talked in other videos before about, my minimalist nature. I don't want to have some huge portfolio. We saw somebody the other day with a 268 tweet thread about everything that they're invested in. I think I'm in maybe 12 right now. I don't know, 10, 12. That's pretty much my max. But I'm a Me-MAXI. I'm a profit maxi. I need to look at how I look at the world and what makes sense to me. And to me, I feel like I need to be diversified a little bit across a couple of small sectors. It's not really for anybody else to tell me that I'm right or wrong. It's not for me to tell anybody else that they're right or wrong. You got here how you got here. I may think that Hex is the best yield turning DeFi protocol. I may think that Ethereum is the best layer one smart contract blockchain, but I'm not just going to be invested in those two things. They may be the overwhelming, majority of my portfolio or something like that, but it doesn't mean I have to be fully invested in them. Just like there's a lot of people that are obsessed these last few years with GameFi and tokens like Gala, which is really pumping right now, Axie Infinity, Illuvium, stuff like that. Some people might have been like gamers growing up, and they love this idea of tokens that, they can actually literally earn money, real world money with these tokens, and that's a cool idea for them. I have a very small portion of my portfolio that I put some GameFi stuff in, not very much, but some people may be really wrapped up in that. I personally would think that that's a mistake, but it's not really my job to tell them that, I'm not providing investment advice on this channel, and people need to understand that, again, these people, we all come from different backgrounds and you arrive at your own choices. So my main message from this video is, if you are somebody who is a newer investor into cryptocurrency, this is in no way financial advice, but more so, I guess, like life advice and kind of looking inward. And I do talk a lot about this kind of stuff in some of my other, getting your mind right, minimalism type videos. But my message to you would be to be a Me-MAXI. Okay. And that is, if that means 100% allocation to Hex for you, then that is good. If it's you that has arrived at that decision and that's what you're comfortable with, by all means do it. If you're somebody who, I would never dream of this, but have like 20 tokens in your portfolio and, okay, I've got a layer one sector and a layer two and an app sector and and all this different stuff. If you feel like you can manage it, go ahead. Because the thing is, you will only do well if you are living your own journey and doing things that are in line with your values and your own mind. There can be an objective, optimal way to doing a certain thing that most people can believe. And it may not be the best for you because the way that your mind works, you're not going to follow through with the investment, or you're going to sell early or something like that, or you're going to look at the charts too much. I've told you guys before, I was a TradFi I wasn't like a huge Dave Ramsey fan or anything, but I like all those principles. Well, the snowball effect and getting out of debt. And, I'm not going to get into a Dave Ramsey thing now. He has some good things he says and things I'm not as much of a fan of. But I used to be one of those guys that was like, no, index funds. That's the only way to go. 60-40 allocation, stock and bond. And it's just, and now I'm mostly invested in crypto, So that's another thing too that's very important is like, give people time to change their mind. I mean, like you can plant seeds and stuff like that to help them out a little bit, but you can't just convert people left and right. It's kind of like the teacher will present himself when the student is ready kind of a thing. So yeah, get clear about what your goals are, what your values are, because that's another thing too. If your goals aren't to have a 15-year hex stake or something like that, and you want to get rich quicker than that, maybe a long-term stake isn't as important to you. Or if swing trading over weeks or months of time seems more appealing to you and you're not, your whole stack isn't invested in cryptocurrency, you need to follow that path, whatever it is that actually speaks to you. But just remember, if anybody out there attacks you for your beliefs, they have character flaws. There's something going on internally there that they need to work on. Discount them, put them to the side. I wouldn't even engage anybody like that. If you're on your own journey, it's best to keep an open mind. You'll get there eventually. But if somebody is slinging personal attacks at you or anything like that, it's best to just discard that type of person. Not to sound overly cheesy, but believe in yourself, choose yourself. It's only going to be your journey that you can go on. And unfortunately, that means sometimes getting to the right decision maybe a few months or years later than you would have otherwise. But you can look at things as, did this happen to me or did this happen for me? And if you look at it from an angle of it happened for me, you can figure out a strategy and move on from there and create something from it that's really meaningful to you. So that's it. I hope this helped. I just wanted to get this message out there. It's something I've been thinking about here and there. And, I think the bear market does get a lot of people, it's done it to me even, like, really examining like your metal a little bit, thinking about your portfolio, you're sweating a little bit when you make certain buys and stuff like that. Again, you've seen all kinds of different people swear off everything else. And, I see why everybody's a Bitcoin maxi. I never did anything like that, but there are people out there that have. So what are your thoughts on maxi behavior? Do you call yourself a maxi of any certain token or crypto? Or are you more so a little bit like me where you're liquid? You can move around to different things and don't worry about it as much. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Let me know below. If you like the channel, please do like the video, subscribe as well. I very much appreciate it. Hit the notification bell, and you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Boi Crypto. I want to once again thank all of you fellow broke boys for watching another one of these videos, and I'll catch you in the next one.